More than 1 billion people worldwide suffer from one or more of the so-called neglected diseases. But neglected diseases are really diseases of neglected people. As a scientist, I wanted to do good science, but also to positively impact people's lives. When the opportunity to work in other areas, such as neglected diseases, comes along, it's kind of a no-brainer. People want to do it. So river blindness is actually caused by a worm that gets transmitted from black flies into the human. The worm takes about a year to develop into an adult stage. At that point, it starts having babies. The worm babies migrate throughout the body, particularly in the skin. It can cause severe itching and other problems in the skin. Those worms can also get into the eyes. When that happens, there's an inflammatory response that the body mounts against the worm, and that can cause the blindness.
Cette maladie entretient le cycle de la pauvreté. Il devient totalement dépendant puisqu'il ne peut pas se déplacer, il ne peut pas travailler et du coup, il va mobiliser quelqu'un plus jeune souvent. Si c'est un père de famille, ça va être son enfant qui va le servir de guide. Et cet enfant-là ne va pas aller à l'école pour toute sa vie puisqu'il va rester en permanence là, servir de guide pour son père qui ne travaille pas. Puisque déjà, les communautés qui sont affectées sont les communautés rurales qui sont pauvres. Et donc ça continue, ça entretient le cycle de la pauvreté. Les gens s'appauvrissent davantage.
We have our clinical program in river blindness, but we have also discovery research that focuses on tuberculosis, malaria, and diseases like leishmaniasis and Chagas disease. Yeah, I think it was in 2009 that the Gates Foundation called CEOs from different big pharma companies together and challenged them to get involved in making drugs available and discovering drugs for neglected diseases that are in the development world.
DNDi stands for Drugs for Neglected Disease Initiative. And it is founded about 15 years ago. Often they see diseases where there's not even a treatment available. And this is the idea that led to the funding of drug development in spaces where normally nobody would invest.
What is exciting about it is that we are combining what we can both do best. DNDi understands how you do development of a drug in the countries where these diseases are endemic. AbbVie has the experience in drug discovery and drug development. With river blindness, we are just at the beginning of our phase 2 study.
More than 400 AbbVie scientists over the years worked on our neglected diseases program. Many of those hours were just extra hours that people put in on the weekend or in the evenings because people were so interested in wanting to make an impact on the lives of these patients. As my colleague scientists in the company began to realize what I was working on, it was very common for them to come to me and said, "Dale, I really want to help on this project." And in fact, my friend Nikki Alamy, her expertise in clinical medicine became key, and she became one of our closest partners.
If you think of it as passing on the baton, it's taking on all the knowledge and data that had been developed in preclinical setting, taking all of that on, and then designing the clinical trial and carrying it forward. Part of my personal interest in neglected diseases comes from the Syrian refugee crisis. I had the incredible opportunity to work as a medical advisor as part of UNICEF to address the needs of the refugee center. The people that I was interacting with were physicians, engineers, teachers, and it was a good reminder that your circumstances can change and you never know when you may be in that situation.
So the currently used drug needs to be repetitively applied, so patients have to take that for many, many years, and that's a big social effort, a big financial effort in order to do that on millions of people.
There's another problem with the current drugs. They not only kill the microfilaria of the river blindness, but also another parasitic worm, which is called Loa Loa. And this particular disease is co-endemic in the area of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. If the microfilaria of Loa Loa are killed off, patients may get such a strong reaction they could actually die. They cannot take these drugs that we currently have. We need something else.
Most companies like AbbVie have millions of compounds in their compound libraries. And out of those, we identified the compound that is now being studied in humans for river blindness.
There is a bacteria that lives inside the adult worm. If you kill the bacteria, the adult worm becomes sterile and ultimately it dies. That is what we are doing with our medication.
You never know if what you're trying to invent is actually going to manifest itself in the way that you think until you actually have the answer from humans. That's a very long process and a long time to live with ambiguity. But the prospect of being able to answer those questions is what drives you as a scientist.
I know that only when we all get together, stakeholders, funders, scientists, that's when we can tackle the diseases and we can do our part in this story.
Chaque fois qu'ils voyaient un véhicule de DNDi passer dans ces villages, mais on était entouré par la population, demander si, voilà, ça y est, si finalement le médicament est là.
We think of this as a distant problem, but it could have been any of us. Just because you're not experiencing it doesn't mean that it's not important.
I tell people that the last 10 years of my career was a true gift to be able to devote my attentions and talents toward working in disease areas that will impact the lives of people who don't have a voice. I can't think of a better way to end a career, and I'm exceedingly thankful for that.